You're looking at what might be the best YouTube script of 2025. No gimmicks, no fluff. Just one brilliant video that does everything right. It seems simple, but every second is optimized because Cleo's using a couple new tricks in her script, starting with an intro technique that most creators completely overlook. Cleo's intro uses a two-part setup to create huge curiosity. The first part is what I call the build-up phase, and the second part is the hook phase. Let's study them together.
If you've ever thought, what if I just dug a really deep hole? That's what the USSR did right here. That hole is deeper than the deepest part of the ocean. It's deeper than Mount Everest is tall. The United States only got to 600 feet before pulling funding, but the USSR kept going for 20 years.
Cleo introduces the main story here. Russia dug a really deep hole. Then all she does is build that story up. It's deeper than the ocean. It's deeper than the tallest mountain. Even the USA couldn't keep up with Russia's huge hole. Cleo builds a really strong story, but then she hits us with the hook phase.
They made it about a third of the way through Earth's crust, and then stopped. But what if you just kept digging? If you dug a hole all the way to the center of the Earth, what would you find? What would happen to you? And what does our newest tech tell us is really going on down below our feet?
This first sentence creates so many questions for the viewer. Why did Russia stop? What happens if we dig deeper? Most importantly, this creates an effect called closure violation. It leaves the story unfinished, which triggers discomfort in our brain. What can I say? The brain wants closure. But the most impressive part of the intro is how Cleo's able to weave in two super important strategies in one sentence. This one right here. The first half of the sentence reaffirms the title and the topic, which in every retention graph I've studied causes less viewers to click off. A good thing. And the second half of the sentence immediately jumps into meaty content. This is content that feels like new and interesting information, not fluff. And this, by far, is the strongest way to hook a viewer. But Cleo doesn't only hook us in the intro. She uses hooking sentences throughout the script.
As we get deeper, we start to see all kinds of impressively deep things that people have built. Now, finally, at 12.2 kilometers, we reach the deepest point humans have ever dug. At about 30 to 50 kilometers down, we notice that the rock around us is changing.
These rehooks are everywhere in the script, adding just enough curiosity to keep you watching. But there's one issue here. Most of these hooks are vague. Alone, they're not strong. So Cleo uses a scripting strategy that's just genius. We'll look at this section of the script to analyze what she does.
At about 30 to 50 kilometers down, we notice that the rock around us is changing.
This is the hook for this section. It makes the viewer ask, what exactly is changing?
We're crossing into the mantle.
Then we're given framing information. This tells us where we are, its context, and notice how she keeps it really short, because it's not interesting. Then Cleo uses what I call the shoe drop technique.
At first, the rock around us looks really brittle, like the crust, but denser.
It's this right here. I don't know about you, but when somebody says at first, it conveys there's another sentence coming that's gonna create a huge twist. In other words, saying at first causes the viewer to wait for the other shoe to drop. Thus, my incredibly creative name for this technique. This gets us to keep watching. And then we're hit with this banger of a sentence.
But as we get a little deeper, as the temperature rises over 1300 degrees Celsius, something weird starts to happen.
In the first half, Cleo conveys progression. We're moving forward, we're getting deeper and hotter. And that forward motion keeps us engaged because our brains crave momentum and new information. The second half is the rehook. When Cleo says something weird's gonna happen, it makes us curious. The viewer's sitting over here thinking, what is gonna happen? And next is the truly genius part.
The rock around us starts to look like hot plastic. Here, the temperature is higher than the melting point of the rock, but the pressure is so high that it's still keeping the rock solid.
Cleo uses the what then why technique for the meat of her video. She shares what is happening, then she explains why. This perfectly mimics what our brain is thinking during the video. Something's weird. What's weird? Oh, okay, this is weird. Wait, why is it weird? Ah, this is why it's weird. Our brains see things, then get curious, not the other way around. If Cleo were to start with the why info like so many other YouTubers, it would feel like a ton of random context. This is something that school has ruined for us. We're taught to explain why first, then show examples, which is the opposite of how curiosity works in our brains. Cleo pulls you in, then she explains the science. My favorite line is right here.
We're now starting to push through even hotter material.
Cleo's basically telling us, hey, we're moving on. This sentence builds more curiosity again by telling us the video is escalating. We're going deeper and things are getting hotter. And this is the genius of this section. Cleo hooks us in, tells us where we are, builds intrigue with the shoe drop technique, shows what is happening, then why, then she rehooks us into the next section. She repeats this strategy throughout the script. Now, this video isn't only about hooks and curiosity, it's about Cleo's simplicity too. Cleo's average word length is 4 letters. She writes at a 12-year-old's reading level. Cleo explains hard to understand topics with examples we can understand.
Less than the length of a marathon. Studying the deep earth is like being a detective. It's deeper than Mount Everest is tall.
I don't care who you are, you can't hook someone if they can't understand you. And Cleo's topic is not simple. Most YouTubers would make this super technical. Instead, she keeps it simple so that more people can watch it, increasing the total amount of views she can get. But what if I told you Cleo's most important technique is this digging animation right here? This animation is the reason viewers stay till the end, because every time we see it, we're reminded that we haven't reached the center of the earth yet. And since our brains hate unfinished stories, we keep watching the video. Even better, this animation has this little person digging towards the center of the earth, which makes us feel like we're moving quickly towards the end goal of the video. It prevents us from getting bored. This is called a retention mechanism. And it's the reason Cleo's video is gonna hit 20 million views and become Cleo's most viewed video of all time. Absolutely insane. Wow. Every time I finish analyzing an amazing script, I feel like I'm on a huge high or something. But if you enjoy analysis like this, I recommend you click the pinned comment below for my newsletter. I break down stuff like this every single week, stuff that doesn't make it into a video. So, see you over there. Peace.